part of the show, his favorite part. But we have another milestone that's the next one too. So if you guys want to support the show, make a pledge. It'd be amazing. And you don't have to, but obviously it definitely helps us out, helps us continue doing the show. And the next milestone is we get to create some cool voice lines for you, so you can use on your phone or wherever you want to use when you want to hear our voices pretending to be Hearthstone cards or emotes or whatnot. So yeah, you can take a look at that at patreon.com/valuetown. And thank you so much for that. Speaking of patrons, we have patrons send in some of their Mekkatorque Workshop cards too, so we can talk on the show. And for those of you who've never seen Mekkatorque Workshop, it's the segment where we come up with our own cards. And usually me and Noxious will come up as a layer. Now we'll come up with some cool cards. Today we've got patron CacperK that has two very cute cards that I just had to talk about. And they're two Murloc cards. So they gotta be cute if they're Murlocs, right? Oh, actually, I don't have them here. I gotta get them real quick. All right, so we've got Murloc Regiment, which is an 8-drop, and then we have.
Oh my god!
We have the Great General Tiny Fin, which is
What?
a 1-mana 1/1 with Divine
Yes,
Shield. Dude, this card right
awesome,
here,
dude. This is so awesome.
8 mana, summon 2 Murloc Knights and the Great General Tiny Fin. This is by far the coolest card I've been sent.
Yep, me too.
Type of content ever.
Yep,
by far.
Let's see, we got awesome patrons, man, for ValueTown. But I just couldn't. This had to be on the show. This was freaking amazing. And summon 2, 3, 4, like 2 Murloc Knights. That's not bad. I mean,
turn 10. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna play this on turn 10. All right,
exactly.
I get
that's
a
great.
Full board.
And then you've got the general, man. The general has a 1/1 with Divine Shield. You got the meme aspect of this too. But Tyler, is that playable? Is an 8?
It seems pretty OP to me.
Yeah,
Isn't
it does seem OP.
Dude,
Like on turn 10,
fill the board. Yeah.
Anything can happen. So what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, right. And you fill the board instantly. That's 7. That's a 7 minion drop. No, actually, you can't do turn 10, right? Oh no, you get this guy too, right? So it is turn 10. Yeah. You get 7 minions. That is pretty amazing. Blizzard, I hope you're looking at this. We could totally use this card in Paladin. For real. Actually, that might be pretty damn good. Be amazing to extend it. But yeah, Cacper, that's an amazing card. Keep those coming. Actually, he has a few other ones that I didn't get a chance to look at closely that we might have to bring on the next show. But I also came up with one, just a real quick one that I thought would be interesting for Druid. And I thought about developing just we've talked about treants before, right, on our show.
Yeah.
And maybe, we do have a treant type of tribe. But definitely, I feel like Druid, even though we do have portals and even Feral Rages, could use a little bit more health, especially with just how crazy aggro is right now. So created this card. It might be broken just with Wild Growth or not Wild Growth, Living Root. Living Root.
It's balanced to me.
It's balanced.
Like a card that would not be auto include, but could be used in some decks.
Yeah, I agree. It's a build around. It's great. So 3 mana 2/4 treant. Whenever you summon a minion, restore 2 health to your hero.
Yeah, so basically Living Root. It's got synergy with Living Root for some quick ones, and I don't know, maybe it would encourage playing. I don't know, maybe not Wisps of the Old Gods, or encourage them to make some minions like that. I can see a treant type of play, or maybe Force of Nature, right? Force of Nature just with the three cards. Any of these kind of token generations, I think, would be pretty cool with this card. Yeah, so I thought that'd be an interesting addition to Druid.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I like the card actually.
Yeah,
definitely work.
Yeah, so
design, but it's elegant.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, if you guys have any cards like this, especially our patrons or our patrons of ValueTown, go ahead and send those in. Again, ValueTown at ChanManV.tv, and we'll definitely show them and take a look at them. Okay, the next part, we do have a little bit of a news that I thought was kind of interesting that was at the top of Reddit, which is China's forcing devs to reveal loot box probabilities. So, that includes things like Hearthstone packs, and things like that. And I don't know. What do you guys think of that? I mean, it's just kind of a kind of a random topic, but of course it does involve Hearthstone as well as things like Overwatch and anything, right? And even like CS:GO or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Transparency and all these things? They hiding anything? I don't think Blizzard's hiding anything when it comes to this, right?
It's not that. Is that like gambling is like gambling in games that are so like of such mass appeal to young people. Like if you're a parent and you don't know what the hell is going on, like what the odds are, your kid's just buying these boxes and he's having fun, whatever the case may be. Like you'd like to know if this is legitimately something he can purchase and actually enjoy for sure. But the truth of it is, like a lot of the time, and I don't think it's as true in the case of Overwatch, but the odds are so skewed against the player that it's just bad. In the case of Overwatch, no matter what happens, you can't trade the skins. I don't really care about that, right? Like for me, CS:GO is more of an issue on that front, or whenever they're tradable for real money between people, then it's actual gambling. For games like Overwatch, and I don't really think it's that.
And Hearthstone included too. Like Hearthstone, we can't trade cards, right? So
yeah, in Hearthstone, it's no problem at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, we can see if that all those theories are actually true, right? The 40-pack, no legend, you get a legend, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's proven at this point, right? Enough people have had enough data to prove that, at least theory. But what the average is, I guess, would be interesting to see. I don't think there's any other bit of news right now in the community. So yeah, well, anyways, why don't we go into the Q&A section of the show where we have all of you guys email us questions, including patrons and everybody. And we've actually got some really, really good ones this week. So let me bring it up real quick, and then we'll start off with. I don't know if we can go chronological. I'll just choose them kind of as we're going. We actually have one that I am curious about the answer to too, because I've always responded with the fact that Hearthstone, right? We always talk about card games need good cards and bad cards, right? And we never actually really talked about it. So Brenton actually asks, he's been playing Hearthstone since beta, and multiple sources over the years say that the game needs good cards and bad cards for each expansion or adventure. And he does understand. It says that I do understand that some cards should be better in certain situations or in certain decks. I've never yet heard a strong, thought-out response as to why there should be objectively bad cards ever printed. So yeah, that's basically his question. Like, why should there be bad cards in any TCG game?
Well, if you need a quick and concise answer, because that's the only strong argument you'll find from me is not a design one. Like, hey, you need to give people a lot of filler. It's an economy-related thing, where arcane dust is something you craft stuff with. You can't just give people a huge amount of dust lest they don't need to buy your stuff, and so you give them a bunch of filler, and that filler needs to be something they don't need. So either you give them duplicates of strong cards, or you give them like even more filler in the form of bad cards. Now, this is the only argument that exists to me that makes any sense is that one, and I respect the devil come out and say it. But there is like the other argument that I think is fringe. The other argument I think is fringe is new players need to want to play with bad cards, see their collection improve, when they pick up an objectively better card like Booty Bay Bodyguard to Evil Heckler, and they go like, hey, this is better. And they've learned to compare in that one little moment, that little eureka moment, they've learned to compare two variables, which maybe they hadn't paid too much attention to. They look at the mana cost and now they get it. They're like, oh yeah, cheaper card with the same cost is with the same effect is probably better.
That's creep though. That's power creep. I mean, right?
It's power creep, but they want to help players spot it.
Okay.
Because a lot of players who you present to card games, like you show them Magma Rage, they'll be like, that's a pretty good card. It's got 5 attack for 3 mana. And then eventually they realize, well, I could just get, a 4/2 with stealth instead in the Juggle Panther. And they're like, well, suddenly this doesn't die to Arcane Missiles, doesn't die to Arcane Explosion. So arguably these two cards are pretty bad, but Magma Rager is made to be bad, right? Like it's made to be a meme. And it's just a comparison point for new players. It would be like the second best argument. I
think he doesn't have a question about meme cards. You know what I mean? Like those have entertainment value, right? And
then what?
But maybe just like the super vanilla cards, they're just not good, Like, why have those cards?
Arena, you need those for Arena.
Yep.
Sure, Arena. Yeah.
Is it purely
The
arena?
other argument is also random effects in Hearthstone. So like you can pull bad cards and you can pull good cards from portals and stuff.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's
Goblin
one argument
Gangster
I
has
can
a
think
5
of.
drop's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, I agree with you guys. It has mostly to do with those random draws and arena, and I don't have experience in Magic and other games like that, so this is like strictly speaking from Hearthstone, and the relativity aspect of it is somewhat like, I guess, a reason, but it is more so that you can alter the percentages like of the effectiveness of RNG cards. Can you imagine if every RNG card, discover card, or random card gave you a good card? Those would just be play. They wouldn't be random anymore. They would just be
There's
good.
also a caution factor. I mean, if you're looking at like, cards like Power Word Glory, right? Looking at that priest card, it's a bad card, but I don't think it was intended to be bad, right?
Yeah.
There are cards that turn out bad that aren't intended to be bad, but there are cards, as you said, that are meant not to be played in a real deck, like Worgen Greaser and the 3-mana 4/3 with Taunt, which actually I was for a while just looking at. For it seemed like half decent.
Yeah.
There are cards that just are vanilla because they want to give you a good baseline. Like here, you can pay 3 mana for a 4/3 with Taunt. Now I print this new minion that's a 3 mana 2/3 with an ability. Is that worth more? Is losing 2 attack and Taunt worth the ability? Is the question you have to ask yourself. If you don't have those points of reference, it's actually pretty hard to evaluate what a card is relative to another, especially when you start factoring in synergies, right?
Yeah.
Like, a card like Light Warden or Holy Champion, you could get a Yeti or you could get Holy Champion. Like, what do you want? Do you want to get the buff or do you want to get the vanilla guy? So,
Yeah.
I think that's really the best argument, but like, I'm still not sold on it. I'm telling you it, but you could make the game without those cards and people will play them just the same. So ultimately, I always go back to, well, you need fill-in card packs because economy was set up that way.
Yeah. Good
thing.
explanation there. Okay, so Ahmed N asks, and Tyler, we'll have this one. We'll ask you this one. Do you think that the rise of the pirates will stay as a deck that can be countered with tech choices, not like its predecessors, cough, mid-range shaman, and because it punishes non-optimal decks that are still brewing? Okay,
Wait,
so
can you repeat that
yeah,
question
so
again?
I think what he is asking is basically, do you think the rise of the pirate aggro decks that we see, and I'm just assuming he's talking about warrior and shaman right now, do you think that that they can be countered with tech choices, unlike and I think he's talking about power level, so unlike its predecessors, like the previously master of all, which was a mid-range shaman.
Yeah.
Do you think there are can it be countered by tech choices?
Yeah, definitely. Aggressive decks there's a lot of tools right now to counter aggressive decks.
Yeah.
And in the first few days when Pirate Warrior was a thing, every single deck started running Ooze or even double Ooze. And then
still
even
losing.
Pirate Warrior itself ran Ooze. That was just so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it was.
But there's just so many tools to counter it, and the most obvious one is just Reno lock right now. Just Reno decks, like
super
you
heals,
stabilize and then you heal back to 30 and you win.
Yeah, it helps a lot that you have tools that help you without necessarily needing a Reno specifically, right? Like that's the thing. The reason it's so strong is because it used to be like against Face Hunter or Mid-Range Hunter. If you were Reno lock and they curved and they hit you in the face repeatedly, you had to get really lucky and pick up that Reno off the top without tapping because you were dead. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like I can stall long enough to likely find Reno. Like I'll be 50% on it, and if I don't, then I'm still okay. I've got other things I can do. So it's really come down to like the array of options you have, and it's always easier, I feel, to tech against that kind of stuff than against a good mid-range deck. Like if you remember mid-range Druid with its combo finisher, or mid-range Shaman with the burst, like Spirit Claws with Bolt and
the double
whatever the hell they're
Yeah.
doing even right now if they want to. Like stopping a mid-range deck and teching against it is so much harder, like than teching against an aggro deck, because it's not polarized at all. It's just got a decent array of things to do throughout the entire game. So
one thing I realized wasn't in that shaman deck that we looked at. Hold on, there was some talk of Doomhammer for a while, right? And I guess Doomhammer hasn't really made the cut in the most recent version of this.
Because of Ooze.
Yep.
Yeah, because of it, strictly because of it. That's true. That makes sense. Yeah, so I would say that yeah, it can be countered, but this shaman deck I'm showing right now is not easily countered. It's not just throw up a bunch of taunts and just heal because of the 7/7s mostly. So it's it is counterable just percentage. Unlike the shaman literally beat everything except for like one deck. So it's not going to oppress the game in that kind of fashion. But this is really hard to beat right now. Like,
I mean, you can beat it with like mid-range shaman with healing wave and Jinyu. For instance, like we've seen mid-range shaman come up with like
Yeah.
Jinyu water speakers and healing wave. It's a bit heavy because then you have to run like the double ooze package and it gets like really crazy. But it has been played and it's been doing fairly well.
Yes, this deck definitely loses to mid-range shaman. I kept losing to mid-range shaman as well with this list, and that's just how the meta works, right? Everything keeps each other in check because there's Reno lock. People don't want to play mid-range shaman.
Yeah.
So that's why
Exactly.
this deck is viable.
oh, and
That's
just to
why this
clarify,
deck is
like mid-range shaman right now, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like thunder bluffs and stuff like that, like before? Or are we talking about Jade mid-range?
just the old school Thunder
old school
Buffer.
Okay,
mid-range.
just an old school.
And then
All right.
probably just right now you probably would need to run Bloodlust and you can run healings as well. The Jinju healer.
Right.
And so it would destroy this deck. It would destroy the Phase Shaman deck.
Right.
And you have a reasonable chance against Reno. So I don't think mid-range Shaman is in a terrible spot right now. It's just that everyone is trying new decks.
Yeah, and one of my big fears, when the expansion was announced, I was like, okay, so if Jade Druid's too good, Rogue comes out and punishes it, and if we have a control deck that's too good, the only answer is going to be combo OTK, right? Like, that's usually the way it goes. And now with Reno Lock, there's really very little that beats it aside from, like, Mali Druid, which is horribly positioned against the rest for the time being.
Yeah.
I think spell-based Druid decks are still going to be a go-to. Like, very soon, I think we'll see, like, the meta go back in that general direction because it just seems to be what Druid will need to do.
With Yogg and stuff like that. I mean, Frozen was still playing it in Batstone. It's a very spell-centric Druid. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I don't think it had. I'm not sure it had Malagus in it because I didn't necessarily stay around to see it. But it was like instead of having Malagus as endgame, he had Jade Idols as endgames. That sort of thing. But he had Yogg in it. Definitely some Yogg rolls. Those were interesting for sure. And I played some of it too. I have a Jade deck that I'm still brewing right now that has a Yogg at the end of it too. But just
I had a Reno Priest with Yogg against me last time.
Oh yeah,
that happened.
Reno Priest with Yogg. What the hell?
Yeah, he did it. He had like the biggest balls on earth. And he just went Yogg.
Like he didn't have enough value. He just let's just get some more stuff. Jeez, let's get some more cards or whatnot. We do have so we have another question about Jade Druid from Jerry Jaren Stedt. He asks, I have a strategy question about new Jade Druid decks, and especially about Jade Idol. When you play it, you dilute your deck with 3 more Jade Idol cards, which means you will draw into your ramp and card draw less consistent. So what is the best time to play this card? And when you draw it, when is the best time to play this card when you draw it into your opening hand?
Turn 1 as a 1/1.
Yep. No, seriously.
That's my only answer to this.
First one, turn 1.
Generally, at least the first one, you always play it as a 1/1. You never put it in your deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no point in holding it in there, like you said, Jaren. It's like there's no point in diluting your deck because you need those other cards. Just because it costs 1 mana doesn't mean you're drawing a bunch of them unless you have the auctioneer just triggering, and it's a high chance that you're going to be drawing it, and that only happens at the end of games. So I think the best strategy is to hold an auctioneer and a Jade Idol until the end of the game, and that's when you just go nuts with it. A lot of people don't do that, but a lot of people, a lot of lower level folks, they definitely will draw 3, and that's actually really bad when you draw 3.
Really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that right now, my favorite way to play Druid would have to be like the old school Arcane Giant stuff without combo and with Jade Idol only as a 1-of because you can infinitely shuffle. Like, you don't even have to go all in on the Jade theme, which we've seen, to kind of be
6
the
cards.
trend.
Yeah, if you get 6 cards, it's probably
like you really
enough.
don't need to. Is the interesting thing.
You have to have enough though, otherwise the Jade Idol train is just too weak.
No, you
to
just
even
need
win.
one Jade Idol. Like, you really just need one Jade Idol in a typical deck, and you'll just play your usual Arcane Giants, your Ancients of War, if you want to play both. You know, your Nourish shenanigans with Barnes. Like, you don't need to go crazy on it.
That was my initial impression too. Like, I literally thought it would be the Malagus Druid, just replacing Malagus with just Jade Idols, you know, like that sort of thing. And I thought it would be something like that, you know, or maybe, you know, replace them in fire and just build the Jade theme just a little bit more instead. But when I was playing, I just had a hard time staying alive. It was kind of hard. I've had to put more taunts in that deck just to stay alive against aggro, and then, you know, allow me to get to the end game. Because I can survive mid-range decks. I just can't survive that warrior and shaman.
Well, you need to play Doomsayer, right? Like, if you want to beat
I haven't played
those
that though.
in Druid, I think you'd have to go like a control route with it.
Have you tried Druid, Tyler?
Yeah, I've hit Legend with it, and I just
there you go.
it was I did it in one of the first few days when Warrior was a thing, so I just went full taunt and then
me too.
Jade. So it was played more like a mid-range deck. And very often you don't need the infinite value from the Jade Idol, and then only in certain matchup you recognize the matchup, and then you go for infinite value. So yeah.
So we're talking Druid of the Claws, right? We're talking Druid of the Claws and Ancient of Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, I even saw people running double Ancient of War and one Druid of the Claw at some point, just to counter all the warriors.
Yeah, I'm running, I think, the opposite. I think 2 Druid of the Claws and 1 Ancient of War. Because that was what I'm doing.
I went Rag instead of second Ancient. I play like double Feral Rage, the Roots. I only play 1 Jade Idol. So far the deck's been running pretty well. Like, you play the Arcane Giants, you don't need Mali. Like, you have to cut Moonfires because the OTK version is not necessary. Just infinite anti-fatigue is just good enough, I find.
Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a cool mechanic to... I mean, I still hate the fact that it just kills fatigue. Literally, Control Warrior, guys, is... dead. I mean, when I get Control Warrior, I just laugh. Like, it's just like, I'm so sorry, dude. You should just like concede. So you literally should just concede right now because you literally have 0 chance to beat me.
There are so many Control Warrior players who are so sad right now.
Yeah, and Control Warrior has been a part of the meta for consistently. I would say pretty much the extent of Hearthstone.
Yeah,
I mean, only the beginning where it was not super good. It wasn't until that crazy. I remember Monk showing me this crazy golden warrior deck, like it was like all legends, like 10, 12 legends at the end of it or something. It wasn't until, you know, maybe mid beta that you know, Control Warrior came into the picture. But since then, it's always been in the picture. You know, Fatigue Warriors, just Value Warriors, whatever, right? Elise Warriors, Cthulhu Warriors, whatever. Now it's just... you're just dead. I mean, you don't have Kazakus. You know, you don't have, you just don't have that additional card that gives you like another 2 10 mana cards or whatever that can carry you into the late game. So sad times for Warrior, to be honest. And if the aggro Warrior doesn't stay on top or stay strong or viable, which it sounds like it's starting to come off, then I don't even know what Warrior to play. I mean, Dragon Warrior's still decent.
I think mid-range is going to have... like, I don't think the Hyper Aggro Warrior is the best list. I think it's actually a horrible trend that we've seen every expansion where first few days, Hyper Aggro anything is like destroying the world. And then within a week, people are like, oh, well, I guess it's not a face meta anymore. Well, it wasn't. It's just no one knew what the fuck to do. So we gravitated towards the obvious option, which is, hey, we have 29 cards in the basic set that still work the same way they used to. Let's play them together and make Aggro Warrior. Like, that's still the same deck we had in beta, dude. Like,
it really is, except for the small time Racketeer.
With the small time Buccaneers and everything. It's like almost the same
it's pretty darn
card.
The
truth of it is, like, it's never going to be the best version of Warrior, I feel. Unless something drastic happens, playing it a bit slower is likely better. And
well, the question is whether there is a mid-range deck right now. Like, I think Dragon's the closest thing. And
Dragon Warrior is still pretty good. I mean
wait, Dragon Warrior is... it's actually Dragon Pirate Warrior.
Dragon Pirate, yeah.
Is it really? Okay, I've never played the Dragon Pirate Warrior. Is it really? Okay.
But that list has been taken over now. It's way better than just the pirate list, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So how many pirates? Just the 4 pirates or something?
Just the pirate package.
Yeah, the pirate package.
Just the pirate package. The 5 pirates.
Okay.
Buccaneer, Salty Deckhand, and the patches.
All right. Not much removal then, I guess, right? To try to fit in all the cards, because the dragon package like takes up a lot already. So adding another 6 cards there. Okay, I have to try that out because I mean I was definitely doing really well with Dragon Warrior during the whole mid-range Shaman age, because the dragon package was so good, right? So I might have to try that out. Okay, and let's see. Maybe we might wrap it up after this question here. Unless anybody else has questions, you can email those to valuetown@chanmanv.tv. Edda R asks, what's your Mean Streets of Gadgetzan top 3 cards so far?
As in most fun, or like our
just top 3. It could be
cards?
personal, could be just, you can give whatever reason you want.
I'm gonna go with Kazakus is like number 1. It's hard to say no to Kazakus. One card that I really liked that didn't really work out too well is Brass Knuckles and Warrior, the 4-mana weapon.
Oh yeah.
That's been great too. I've loved that. And Cabal Courier, which I think is actually not a bad card for Reno Cabal decks, obviously. I've loved that. 3-mana 2/2 that draws a card from one of the classes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for me personally, I'm known as a cancer play. I just play whatever. Is
we know who you are. We totally know who you are, Tyler. We watch your stream enough.
Like I'm the complete opposite from you guys. Like you guys are having fun, and
you balance us, dude. You keep us in check.
But for me, it's patches. Patches. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay.
Yes, carried me to rank 1 just now, so that's not on 1.
Okay.
And Kazakus has made Reno log or even Reno decks more fun than it's ever been for me personally. So I've been enjoying Reno decks a lot. So Kazakus on 2, and on 3, I actually don't know, but I've been having fun with
Jade Claws?
Jade Idol.
Jade Idol, yeah, Jade Idol.
Yeah,
Jade Idol is definitely great. For me, all right, Kazakus absolutely number 1 would be Kazakus. Number 2, and so this isn't a card that I've actually played a ton with, but it's just a card that I think is just really well. I mean, Blizzard did a good job with it. So Mayor Noggenfogger, right? Mayor Noggenfogger, I like love, and like this is the card that basically Yoxaron should have been. There's no questions. This is a fun as hell card. It's done in the right way. It causes just the most hilarious moments ever, and it can happen. Like people can get it. Like and when it happens, it's like Nosdormu moments. There's just this is a beautiful meme card, and that's we need that kind of stuff in Hearthstone. So that card, and God, the last one. Let me see. I'd have to look. I don't want it to be too boring. Maybe Wide Eyes. There's something about Wide Eyes I really like, because that Storm Guardian is I mean, when we were first reviewing it, I thought it was really good, right? And everybody thought it was too slow, but that Storm Guardian card always comes down before like Jade cards can handle it, and it's super powerful. It's won me so many games, like so many very long games. I just like literally throw 1 Storm Guard or 2 Guardians down, and I just win the game. So that card's felt really great, but getting it to actually work, value wise, is not easy. So it's a challenge. It's like it rewards you for keeping it alive somehow, or not getting it polymorphed or hexed or anything like that. So yeah, that's a good one too. All right, well, I don't think there's any more questions. So yeah, great show. Great first show after the release. I'm sure the coming weeks are going to be a lot of fun too. But we have an episode 100 coming up, guys, and I'm trying to figure it out. But Noxious is going to be out of town. Like Seed Stories next week. So I'm trying to figure out how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, because I kind of feel weird not doing it with you. And, I do want to make it a special episode with like Blizzard folks, and Trump's going to come back too. And yeah, we can reminisce some, I don't know, or just talk about whatever.
I mean, if you want to set it up for next week, it's no big deal. Like, you can just enjoy the show and be on the back lines.
Yeah, I'll have to see. If not, it'll have to be right before Christmas or whatnot, and we might end up having a Christmas episode kind of combined with episode 100. So you guys might have to be on the lookout for that, and I'll definitely fill you in. But it's a scheduling craziness right now. Hearthstone has so many events in December. It's really crazy. Like there's Seed Story, there's a Chinese event that Ty's told me that he's going to too, and then there's There's
There's
some,
one in January as well. like,
Yeah,
pretty
and
early in January.
exactly. So I'm trying to get a few things in there. I'm trying to do a streamer showdown at the end of the month too. So actually, Noxious hopefully will be hosting that too. So be on the lookout, guys. We'll have a lot of cool things. But episode 100, I do want to make a special episode for everybody and just kind of celebrate that. But Tyler, pleasure having you on, man. Been watching your stream forever, so it's been great. Getting a chance to actually talk some cards and decks and have you on the show.
It was a pleasure for me as well. I didn't even know you knew who I was yet, so
I
it was
lurk.
really
I
fun.
lurk in
And
everybody's streams. I just never talk and chat because I'm always doing something else while I'm watching everybody. So, yeah, totally. I've been watching you for a while, dude. Totally.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you. And also nice to meet the Noxious as well. This was the first
Yeah.
time I talked to him.
Oddly
and,
enough.
we're actually teammates.
Well, I'm excited to see. So, what's your plan for this year in competitive? Like, are you going to go competitive player? Because you're always at the top of ladders. So,
Yes,
I mean-
I'm going to be competitive, and so I'm trying to get 1 in points in my region to qualify for BlizzCon directly. That's the goal. Like going all out.
awesome. And
Maybe
he's in
hard road,
EU,
but,
guys. Yeah. So he's number 1 EU right now. So it's just a matter of holding it for another 23 days. Is that easy, right? Totally easy. But where can people find you? You want to do any shout outs?
Tyler OOTD. That's my handle for everything on Twitch.
What does
on Twitter.
OOTD stand for, by the way?
It stands for Outfit of the Day.
What?
It makes no sense at all, but it has to do with my background. I used to be
Outfit
a
of the
fashion
day.
photographer
Oh,
before,
okay.
before I did Hearthstone.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice. You can teach some of us how to dress in the,
I mean,
in
you
our
guys are
community.
fine.
Okay, so sorry. Your Twitter is actually your Twitter's here on the overlay. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Tyler OOTD.
Yeah.
It's not Tylerootd, it's Tyler Outfit of the Day.
Yeah, you can check out his stream there too, guys. So go and check that out. Follow if you want to see top level ladder play. Probably cancer play right now, but it's top level though. It's totally top level. So when do you usually stream, by the way?
This time.
Okay, this time. Oh, so thanks
about
for
this time.
taking your
Usually
time out.
Right about this time. So if there's no Value Town, then come and watch my stream, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Value Town's usually on Wednesday, so it doesn't usually overlap, at least on this day. Noxious, shout outs. Where can people find you?
Shout out to Complexity as usual. You can find me on YouTube on Noxious GLHF and on Twitch Noxious_HS when I play Hearthstone, which these days I tend to split my time into more games. That way I don't actually get burnt out on playing too much of the
Good strategy.
card slinging. Just take a break when I have to. Feels good.
Good strategy. Definitely good strategy. Burnout is bad. Absolutely bad. And yeah, I'll round things out. Thank the two of you guys for doing the show and everybody for watching. All the folks for sending emails and patrons for sending their cards and all their great well wishes and whatnot. Thank you so much for that. You can find the VODs for ValueTown on youtube.com/ChanManV. The VOD for this channel or this show, if you missed it, a little bit of it earlier, will be up in about 20-30 minutes. So definitely tune in for that. If you are on iTunes, and by the way, we didn't give a shout out to our iTunes folks too. Do want to give a shout out to Nirvana13A for leaving a 5-star rating. If you do listen to it on iTunes, the latest episode will be available by tomorrow morning. Maybe even tonight, depending on when iTunes updates it. And if you do enjoy the show, if you leave a 5-star review and a short message, it helps the show in a big way. Helps folks find Value Town when they're trying to find a Hearthstone podcast on iTunes. So yeah, if you feel like doing that, that'd be awesome. That would help the show. And I think that's going to be it, guys, for the show this week. So for Tyler, Noxious, and myself, ChanManV, see you hopefully next week. If not, sometime in the very near future. See ya.
Bye.